The results of Manitoba's progressive conservative leadership race are being challenged in court. The party declared Heather Stephenson the winner. She is now the premier. But the other candidate, Shelly Glover, says the vote was rife with irregularities and claims she can prove it. Glover joins me by phone. She's in St. Anne, east of Winnipeg. Ms. Glover, thank you very much for joining us today. Do you stand by your claim that you are the premier?
Well, I'm not the premier because I didn't get sworn in, but I certainly stand by my claim that I was the duly elected premier designate and should have been the one sworn in.
So in your court application, you state that there were, quote, substantial irregularities calculated to affect the result. What exactly are those irregularities and what evidence do you have to support your claims?
So there were a number of irregularities, but the basis of this court case is the fact that we, of course, asked for a final number of ballots that would be counted the day of the count. That information came to us in a spreadsheet at 12:27 a.m. on October 30th. And that spreadsheet indicated that 16,045 ballots would be counted that day. So 7.5 hours later, at 8 a.m., they began the count. And when the count finished, in the scrutineers' room, our scrutineers and the scrutineers of Heather Stephenson's team calculated all of the boxes' totals and came to a conclusion that I had won in that room. My team was jubilant. Her team was so upset. Their lead scrutineer shook her head, went to the wall, her head on the wall, and was crying. They continued to talk about who might not have a job, who might have a job still. It was obvious to everyone in that room, and we're talking, I think, about over 80 people in that room, that I had won. Now, I didn't know any of that, Katie, until after the announcement, because in that room, as soon as everyone was jumping and cheering on my side, suddenly the ballot boxes were being escorted out, unsealed, and our team tried to stop this. And we're told by the president of the party, Tom Weeb, that they were taking them out and putting them in the auditor's car. And our team said, but we haven't signed off the numbers as required for the official vote and the announcement. And he said, you'll find out when the announcement is made, just like everyone else, which is not normal practice. And so they locked, one of the scrutineers actually, asked to follow the ballots to maintain continuity and was told no. And they were locked in the room. And an hour and a half, 2 hours later, the announcement was made. Now, going back to that announcement, because that's where I heard the numbers as well, and I knew 16,045 ballots were counted. I knew I needed 8,023 to win, Katie. He announced that there were 82 spoiled ballots, 17 disputed. And then Tom Weeb went on to announce that I had 8,042 ballots. So instantly in my head, I said, oh my God, I'm the premier. I'm the leader of the party. And then he went on to say that Heather Stephenson had 8,405 ballots and had won. But that does not add up to 16,045. It adds up to 16,546, which is 501 votes more than we were told day before at 12, or not the day before, the morning of, at 12:27 a.m.
So you say that this was unfolding in this room and there were some 80 witnesses to what was going on. So far, from what I understand from your court documents, you've got one scrutineer, Kevin Cook, who's a former police officer, who has sworn an affidavit describing not being allowed to follow the vote. But should there not be more than just, if this happened in front of so many people, should there not be more than just one? Do you have more witnesses to this?
All of those people were witness to this. And I don't know how many were in the room. I wasn't in the room. But from what I'm told, there was even more than 80. And, the case that I brought before the courts, I feel horrible because, this could have been settled long time before. I mean, this is unfortunate. But the has to be told and justice has to be served. And I wish that the party, would simply have talked to us when we raised these concerns at the time, but they refused. We had to file Monday morning. We sent a letter to the Lieutenant Governor Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. saying there are irregularities. Please hold off this swearing in. Tuesday, we filed the affidavits because, remember, it takes time to write affidavits. So absolutely, there will be more witnesses. There will be a lot more witnesses because there were substantive irregularities all the way along this election. But at this point, we have court tomorrow morning, and we're trying to get this done as quickly as possible because this is in the public's interest. And this is a major, major seat in the legislature. This is a very important case, and it's about being the very first female premier in our province. So we're acting as quickly as possible and going before the courts with what we have so that it can happen quickly.
I just want to be very clear on something. If there were so many people who are witness to this, why haven't we heard specifically from those witnesses? Why have they not come forward publicly yet to say, hey, we have concerns about how this went down? Many
have. Just look at social media. There's literally hundreds of stories about what they heard, what they saw. I know of several who have offered to speak with journalists, who've offered to speak with radio hosts. And, this is not something that isn't out there. It is everywhere. Just have a look at social media. These people are conservatives. We believe in justice. We believe in doing the right thing. And we want our party to do the right thing here. So no one is cowering from this. They want what happened to be fixed. And if you'd like some names, I'm happy to give them to you.
Now, the Manitoba PC party is disputing your allegations. They put out a statement yesterday saying, quote, all ballots from the time they were received to the time they were counted were in the care and control initially of our independent security firm and subsequently our independent auditors. The counting was overseen by our auditors together with a scrutineer from each campaign. They are saying your claims are not true.
Katie, I'm going to tell you, there is a big problem with what this auditor did. There is a big problem. Whoever wrote that note knows that that is not factual. Because I'll tell you, Blaine Peterson, an MLA in the legislature, and his wife were the two people assigned to count. They are neither auditors nor independent. A scrutineer from each of our teams was at that table, and it was Blaine Peterson and his wife who did the counting. That is not independent, nor is that an auditor. So I don't know what they're talking about. There was one auditor who wasn't even in the room the whole time, is what I'm told.
Now, in that same statement, the PC party said that after the election committee speaks with you and your team, that they'll hope that you and your team will come to the conclusion to see that this process was handled, quote, appropriately, accurately, and without favor. Have you spoken with, or any member of your team spoken with party officials about this yet?
I expect to do that today.
And what do you want to say to them?
Tell the truth.
They say that from their perspective that, things went down things were handled appropriately, but you're still disputing that.
Well, I mentioned way before the end of the ballot returns that we needed an extension because it was a mess. It was a mess. And people were on social media saying, I haven't received my ballot. I haven't received my ballot. I've been to 3 different locations because the party told me to go here, and then they told me to go there, and then and they were running all over the province to try to get a ballot. We did what we thought was right in asking for an extension. And I question, why wouldn't our party want to make sure that all members were satisfied with the process? And from day one, when the Executive Council tried to shut down this race and make it a coronation, there were problems.
So are you making the allegation, which is an incredibly serious allegation, are you making the allegation that the fix was in from the start here?
I'm just telling you what the anomalies were, and you can come to your own conclusion. I'm telling you what happened. These are the facts. of what happened. And every step of the way, it was hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. And I tried my very best on behalf of the party, on behalf of its members in particular, to try to solve these things without involving outside people.
But you still agreed to participate in the race knowing what the rules were.
Absolutely. And I did get over every hump. I'm the only one who did.
And I just want to be clear, because we live in a time right now where claims about irregular votes, voter fraud, what we've seen happen in the United States has really questioned people's faith in democracy and led to certain challenges down there. And so when people come forward with claims of irregular votes and irregularities in elections, it is our jobs as journalists to make sure that if those are the allegations, there needs to be evidence to back up those allegations. I just want to make sure, are you presenting in your court documents that you have the evidence to prove that there are these 501 ballots, these 501 votes that are unaccounted for?
We have the spreadsheet that we got at 12:27 a.m. that says 16,040 ballots would be counted. The math does not add up, and nor does what happened. And of course, I was not in that room, which is why you have the affidavit of a scrutineer that was in that room. And you'll see it all over social media. What happened in that room, they all believed, my scrutineers and her scrutineers, they all believed I had won.
How long do you plan to fight this?
Well, it's not about winning or losing anymore, Katie. It's not about that. It's about democracy. If this is not dealt with, then this is a very slippery slope, right? I said this yesterday, that I believe I am the person that should be sworn in. And they swore her in anyways. So I am not the premier. She has been sworn in as the premier. But I believe to the core of my being that a miscarriage of justice has happened. And I would not be, it would be out of my character, Katie, to not stand up to injustice. I've done that my entire life. This is about the members, and this is about a party that I have loved and fought for in all of my adult years. This is about democracy and a party that must survive. The only way to survive is to have this question, which is obvious. This has to be answered. This has to be proven. This has to come out so that democracy is alive and well. It is not about winning or losing anymore, Katie. It is about doing the right thing by members of this party.
But you are fighting to get to be to the premier. So it is, at the end of the day, it is about winning and losing, is it not, though?
That is not what it's about. It's about, let's do a revote. Let's take all of the 26,000 people who had ballots, or pardon me, who had memberships. Let's do this right. Give them all ballots. Let them vote with no irregularities, and let there be an actual third-party firm that oversees everything. These ballots should never touch the party's hands.
All right, we're going to have to leave the conversation there. Ms. Glover, thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.